I'm Stella Bell, and I'm a clinical research project manager. I just wanted to give y'all a little overview of what a project manager does. First off, here's what we'll cover today. I'll give you a little introduction to project management. We'll go over some typical project manager responsibilities and what kind of skills they require. We'll look at the day in the life of a project manager, just a typical day, and I have some final tips and takeaways for you. So I'm guessing a lot of you are here because you're interested in becoming a project manager, or you're just getting started out in project management. So the question is, why become a project manager? First of all, it's a very rewarding career and a very in-demand career. So it provides some career stability. So if not job stability, because layoffs are common, it does provide career stability in that project managers are in demand and you're likely to be able to find employment readily when you need to. Other than that, project management is a really fun job if you are a people person and you enjoy solving problems. It's very interesting work. It can be very demanding work, and it can also be very financially rewarding work. So my path to becoming a project manager, and there are many paths, but I can share my own with you. I started out in the IT sector and became a project manager focused on managing federal contracts and also client contracts. So I was like a PM of the contracting and contract management process. After that, I decided to switch to clinical research. I started out as a research project manager, and during that time I was with an employer who was able to pay for me to get a PMP certification as well as a master's degree. So I took my employer up on that offer of education, and then I have since moved. I've worked for a startup and I have worked for corporations as well as in an academic setting. But that's just one of many paths to becoming a project manager. So let's look at some of the typical responsibilities of a project manager, because I think a lot of people think that project managers just do timelines and budgets, and that's not necessarily true. So while understanding finances and budget forecasting and management are important for a project manager, often in larger organizations, the project manager has a project financial analyst to help them with that, and they'll also have assistant project managers or project specialists who can help just do the nitty-gritty of the timelines in Smartsheets or Microsoft Project. So while knowledge of that is necessary, you don't have to be a subject matter expert in the actual finance tools or timeline documentation tools. But what you do have to have is a strong general understanding of where you are in the budgets, a good enough understanding of your project to be able to provide accurate forecasting of budgets and timelines, and to understand potential risks to your timelines and have potential mitigation strategies planned and documented. Project managers, in addition to budgets and timelines, they're responsible for planning and running meetings. And there's a very big skill set to this, and I think it's often minimized or even overlooked. I think it's super important for project managers to have very strong meeting skills, and that goes all the way from planning the agenda to running the meeting effectively to get everything done that you need to get done during the meeting, coming out with clear action items and documenting them correctly. So meetings are a very important part of the project manager's day. Client relationships, if you are client facing, will be a very big part of your job. You'll be the relationship person, and you'll probably work very closely with your team's, with your company's business development folks if you are client facing, and it'll be your job to be the face of your project and maintain an open and warm relationship with the clients. Communication again, other than in meetings, just messaging things to both the client and to the internal team. Projects change, things come up. It's important to message those things correctly. It's important to communicate them correctly. It's important to document them correctly. So skills like copywriting and learning how to message things are super important in my opinion. And then another part of the project manager's job is to address functional issues. So if one of your functional teams, like in my case, I work in research, so if my clinical operations functional team has an issue or my data management functional team has an issue, it's important for me to understand enough about those functional areas to be able to understand what the issue is and work with the functional team to troubleshoot potential issues and come up with solutions. So project manager skill set, I would say leadership or coaching is a very important skill set that project managers need to have. Project teams have a lot of different personalities, so do client teams, and so the project manager has to be a little bit of the cheerleader, a little bit of the quarterback, and be able to lead the project in a way that's all stakeholders feel comfortable bringing issues to the project manager, and all stakeholders have a level of trust in the PM that allows the project to keep moving forward. Other skills that are important, again, as mentioned, budgeting and timeline tracking skills and forecasting skills. And again, that just comes from experience and having a great understanding of your own project to be able to forecast and identify risks and come up with potential mitigations. Relationship management, again, these are soft skills. People talk about them. They are very important, and so relationship management is a huge skill set, and it can be developed and should be if you want to be an effective PM. Communication is so essential, and that can take the form of emails, direct messages, meetings, PowerPoint presentations, and just phone calls or web calls with your team members. And again, can't emphasize it enough, meeting management is so important. The meetings can totally eat up your project budget. They can totally eat up your project time. You could spend 6 hours a day in meetings and get nothing done if you're not careful and blow your project's budget straight out of the water. So meeting planning and management is an often overlooked but extremely important skill for a project manager. Day in the life of a project manager. I mean, what's it really going to be like? What do project managers do? Here's where the rubber meets the road. So I've just written just a sample schedule. I myself do try to leave a chunk of my day, like at least a couple uninterrupted hours a day free for me to do the actual, quote, work of project management. So the action items I need to complete, the reports I need to draft, etc. I try to leave myself an ample block of time to actually do those tasks. But say I typically start my morning early. I work on a global team, so literally if I wanted to work 24 hours a day, I could, because I have team members all over the world. But typically I refrain from doing that. I'll log in at about 7:30 or 7:45 a.m. I'll review the emails that came in overnight, any DMs that came in overnight. If there's some that are urgent or are holding up project progress or may affect a client relationship, I answer those right away. The other ones I put on my to-do list for that day to respond to those. I do my best to respond to all emails by the end of my business day. So, nothing will go longer than 12 or 16 hours without a response. So typically I'll have client meetings in the morning. I'm in the US. A lot of my clients are in Europe. So, and a lot of my team members are in Europe and APAC region. So early morning meetings are typical. They can be as early as 6 a.m. sometimes, but typically I try to not schedule them before 8 or 8:30 a.m. my time, just so that I'm wide awake and can bring my best to the meetings. So client meetings could be a regularly scheduled weekly status update, or it may be like an ad hoc meeting if a client has a certain concern or issue, or if it's a risk management meeting series that occurs monthly. Client meetings can be all different kinds of reasons to meet with your clients. So you can have that meeting, and then often I'll have like another meeting, and this may be like an internal meeting for my business unit or department. So we'll go to that. Then I might have a little half hour free, and I'll use that to check my emails and again reply to any extremely urgent ones or ones that affect client relationships or project progress. Then I might go into a meeting with project financial analyst on one of my projects, and we'll take a look at how the budget's doing, see where maybe we're overburning some hours in certain categories, and troubleshoot those items, and I'll come out with a list of action items to address to keep that budget in check. And then I always try to take lunch every day, even if it's only 15 minutes. I do not skip lunch. The day is really long and I need my brain power, so I think it's really important to take lunch, even if it's only a few minutes, to just take a breath of fresh air and have a sandwich. Then I might take time to document the action items from all the morning meetings. So typically I'll take notes in OneNote or even with pen and paper during meetings, and then I will dictate everything into OneNote, or I will put everything into Basecamp or another task management piece of software, so that my to-do list is documented and easy to follow. Then I might have, after that, another like an unscheduled call. One of the functional team leads may say they have a problem and want to talk, and so I'll have a call with them, see what's up. Then I might have some time to get my action items done, and a lot of times these are emails or drafting a special memo or reviewing SOPs or company policies to make sure we're compliant with our internal policies. So action items can be extremely varied. Might be making a little presentation on an issue a client really had questions on. So action items can be anything that came up in that morning's meetings that need to get done. Then I might go to another meeting with one of my project's oversight teams. So these are the managers, and they'll be relaying stuff from company leadership. And so they'll make more action items for me. I'll make a note of that. And anything that I want the oversight team to escalate to leadership, like any resources I might need that weren't budgeted for, or things on the horizon that weren't anticipated, I raised that in those meetings. And then for the rest of the day, ideally, I'll have a whole block of time to get all my emails answered, to get all my action items done, and to make a plan for the next day when it all starts over again. So here's some tips and takeaways. Really, people skills are a must. Being a project manager, I think might be pretty challenging if you don't like interacting with people. It's a lot of meetings, it's a lot of communication. People skills are a must, and these absolutely can be developed. And even if you're an introvert, that's okay. I'm pretty introverted, but um, you can just develop your skill set. And it is definitely something you can learn and practice and grow that skill set. Another thing about project management is even though you're going to have timelines and budgets, and on paper things look really black and white, everything changes so you have to be okay with a lot of ambiguity and a lot of change, and be able to stay calm and keep your team members and clients calm when things change. So definitely you'll need tolerance for that. And for those of you who are thinking of going for your project management professional, your PMP certification, keep in mind that most of what they're actually measuring on that test is like a kind of psychometric measurement of your tolerance for ambiguity. Very interesting and very important skill set. Having lots of patience is key. Again, things come up. Team members have issues, team members have issues, clients change stuff, things don't work as anticipated. So it's that keep calm and carry on and just be patient with everyone. And communication really is key. So as things come up, communicating those items in an effective way to all stakeholders is key to keeping all the wheels turning smoothly on your project. I really appreciate your time, and if you have any questions, please check out my school community and message me there. Again, my name is Stella Bell. I'm a PMP and research project manager, and I really appreciate your time and wish you all the best.